Well, hello and welcome to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahidah, and my fabulous co-host Tracey.
Hey, y'all.
Oh, for a minute there, I was like, "Oh, is the sound not working? What happened?"
No, it was a dramatic pause because we're gonna talk about some dramatic fashion stuff today. So,
Okay.
some moments.
Well,
So I was giving the subject that we're gonna get into. I was giving some of her energies.
I mean, since you already started with the energy, just jump on into it.
So I don't even know. I love me some fashion. So you brought up last week that we should, what's going on with Rhode Island Fashion Week? I'm like, you know what? I ain't going to talk about it. I'm also going to be about it. Let me pull up on Rhode Island Fashion Week. So I did that yesterday over at Farm Fresh, and it did not disappoint. I got runway to the umpteenth level over there. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was in Harlem. I felt like I was in Manhattan with the runway show that was put on by Yemi Saccone, who's the head of Rhode Island Fashion Week. She's also the head of Donahue Creative, and she collaborated with the Rhode Island Black Historical Society. Let me get it right, put some respect
Mm-hmm.
on their name, as well as Raw, who's another organization. So they put together a marketplace and a runway show that just was like, it was incredible. I loved
Mm-hmm.
how they actually went about doing it. And then we can tie that into more conversation because the internet has gone insane. Shahida, you know why they're going off, because we're getting a throwback we didn't know we needed in the
Okay.
fashion world.
Oh, you're talking about America's Next. Talking about. Well, tell us more about the Fashion Week. I mean, get
Yes,
into it. You
yes.
excited
So
about it?
I am actually, because I've been to New York Fashion Week. So I've been there in February, I've been there in September for like these high-end shows. And I will say that Yummy brought that same energy while also collaborating with the community. So it started at 4 o'clock, and between 4 and 6, they had vendors. So
Mm-hmm.
the designers actually got to vend ahead
Mm-hmm.
of the runway show, in addition to some artists and things like that. So I got there at about 5 o'clock because I figured, let me just see what the shops are. Because, I'm always going to
Mm-hmm.
buy something. That's just,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what I'm going to do. So I actually ended up, they had vendors for jewelry. They had an author there. They had some of the designers. So I was like, I got plenty of clothes right now, but let me see how they look on the runway, and then maybe I'll patronize again. But what I did get was some really beautiful art. So I'd like to show
Mm-hmm.
you
Oh, I
actually.
would love to see it.
Do you see that?
Yeah, that's interesting. Is she
I know
green?
she's green. She's
All I
green.
can think of is She-Hulk.
I honestly, like, when I saw this and she's talking on the phone, it just reminded me of
Mhm.
being a teenager and talking on the
Mhm.
phone. But I love this. And then in the background, there's a painting within a painting of a woman with plantains on top of
Mhm.
her, the basket on her
I
head. So,
love the album in the back on the wall.
right, the
That's
album
very
was
cute. I
also
love that. Mhm.
really cute. But this is actually what I first saw that took me out. I love
Nice.
the
Now, are
colors.
these like paintings or like graphic designed?
So originally they're oils and these are
Mhm.
prints. So I bought the print and they came framed and everything. And the artist is this really incredible young Haitian American woman. Her name
Mhm.
is Rose Laura,
Mhm.
and she's fantastic. She was, telling me her story, and I was like, I need two of those. I was like, I'm hanging them in my office. But
Mhm.
she's just one of the amazing vendors that was there. I will tag some of her art and some of her other information in our social so other people can check out Rose, patronize
Mhm.
her, buy from her. There were many incredible vendors. In addition to vendors, there were entertainers there. So local singers,
Mhm.
dancers. Our friend Contessa was there, Shahida,
Mhm. She
dancing
performed?
on the runway. Yes, she was
Of course she
dancing.
was. Of course
She
she
was
was.
she was getting it. And
Mhm.
actually, if you check our posts, I recently posted, I got a clip of Contessa dropping it low for us on the
On
on
the
the
run.
dance floor. Yes, on the runway as part of a troupe. So yeah.
Stop. That's so cute. Oh, I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
But the icing on the cake was that
Mhm.
they honored some local heroes.
Mhm.
So they included our Congressman Gabe Amo. They included
Mhm.
Nerva LaFortune of City Year,
Mhm.
the woman who started AS 220. Do you know that like art place? Have you ever walked past
No,
it?
I definitely have been and saw a lot of the community artwork there, but I didn't know who started it because 'Cause that's
Yes, her
been
name
around
is
for a very long time.
it has. Her name is
Mhm.
Angel, and she was there as well. There were many others,
Mhm.
but they actually pulled them out of the audience and surprised us by dressing them up, and they closed the runway show. All of those honorees got to walk the runway, including Congressman Amo. They changed their clothes, they
Uh-huh.
dressed them up, and they crushed it. It was incredible.
I would love to see that. I would love to see Gabe Amo walking down the
He
runway.
looked very sharp. I don't know why he walks around like he's not fine. Like, I think he is so
That
adorable.
man is
I think
handsome. Stop
he
playing.
is fine, okay? In addition to being
If
great with
I hope if
policy,
he's single, I got a daughter.
look here. I don't know what his affiliation or situationship is,
Mhm.
but he always just walks around so humble, like he's
Yeah,
not
he
that
does. He's a nice
that
guy.
dude. I'm like, you are so handsome. But anyway, I digress.
Mhm.
Let me not do too much on Congressman Amo like that. But he looked amazing. Nerva
Mhm.
completely looked like she's been walking the runway her entire life.
Mhm.
She's in charge of City Year, and I know her because my son did City Year with Providence. She's an
Mhm.
incredible woman. Like the honorees all totally deserved every single bit of accolades, and they completely ripped the runway. So I didn't post photos of them doing runway. I wanted
Mhm.
to wait until they got the post edits from the actual runway show because
Mhm.
I want them reflected in their best possible lights. I want them to see what everything looks like, but you can see the other runway shows happening in our stories and in our posts.
Okay. Cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds very interesting. If I had known you were gonna go, I would have probably went because I had looked at it earlier in the
Yeah.
week, and I did have something earlier in the day, but I could have definitely gone. That sounds like it was cool.
Oh, yeah, come with me because it
Mhm.
actually was really good, and it was, a
Mhm.
little bit snowy outside, but I was like, "Imma take the
Mhm.
plunge." I wore my Crocs driving
Mhm.
over there, and then I put my little heels on, my little crystal Cinderella heels before I
Mhm.
got out the car, got on the sidewalk. There were sweet treats from Sarcastic Sweets. It was a really great composite of the community getting together to really lift up the show, and they had the chairs lined up just like you would at New York Fashion Week.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
bought a VIP ticket because I had to be on front row. I had to
Mhm.
give my best in a win tour. You see
Mhm.
what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I
Mhm.
had to bring
Mhm.
it for the people. We also saw our friend of the show, Alicia Pina was there. She's well
Mhm.
known in the community, and she was walking around flossing in one of Lauren's yarns. So that was one of the designers, and they're
Mhm.
these really comfy looking yarn and crochet creations.
Mhm.
I was like, let me leave before I just spend up all my money because I wanted everything. I wanted all the fabric muumuu dresses. I wanted all the yarn stuff. I wanted accessories, all that good stuff. I wanted everything.
So did you get anything from the yarn place? Because
I
I
did
saw that
not.
online and I was like impressed, but I don't know how, but I have gotten onto the knitting side of threads and fabulous. Like some of the things that these women knit is absolutely, absolutely fabulous. So I would not have mind seeing that up close.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
think that what I like about her is that it's not your run of the mill stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was one piece that eventually I'm going to get this. I don't know why I'm acting like I'm not going to buy it. It's a vest on one side and it's a jacket on the other side. So it's long sleeve on this side and this side
Mm-hmm.
is short and it's bolero like cropped
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
fire.
That sounds
Then
very cute.
there's a
Mm-hmm.
big red one that's long and just bulky, and it was amazing. So,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a runway show. They had children on the
Mm-hmm.
runway, and they were adorable. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh! And they had like jewelry items and accessories, and it was so sweet and so cute. And I believe that was in collaboration with the Black Doll Museum.
Okay. There's a
Yeah.
black doll museum where?
Yes, it's out here in New England. I have to get the information. I believe there
Mm.
are 2 actually. So I'll post that information, but I know there's a Black Doll Museum. I have actually a list of some of the participants. So it's the National Black Doll Museum. So if we look that up,
Mhm.
we can get that. Yes, Morris performed an original song. Joel Carter did an original rap song. I think Joel is like 6 years old. He's so tiny, but he's like
That's so cute.
probably he's gonna be like the next Lil Bow Wow because he has amazing stage presence. It was incredible. There was shoes, there was jewelry, there was, accessories, clothing, and all of it just unique
Mhm.
and gorgeous. And they did not leave out the men. They had plenty for guys too.
Oh, nice, nice.
Mhm.
Oh, that's good. That's great that they had so it's just this weekend and that's it? It was just for the weekend?
That was it for this week, but there will be another one in May, and I will present more information about that. I'll
Mhm.
confirm the date. I want to say it's like first, second week of May, but I'll confirm it.
Girl, you need to be walking that runway with them.
People asked me if I was gonna be walking on the runway last night. I felt so, like, proud that people thought I
Mhm.
was part of the runway. But what's interesting too, and I do wanna add this before we move on, is that it wasn't like what differentiated it from a New York Fashion Week is that they were very inclusive with their models. So there was
Mhm.
a spectrum of ages. They had very, very young. I think maybe the youngest kid was probably like 4. And then
Mhm.
they had women that are definitely in their 60s that were
Mhm.
part of the runway. They had trans people.
Mhm.
They had other LGBTQ representation. There were different body sizes represented from, very petite to plus. So
Mhm.
I did love that. So I was like, oh, y'all have geriatrics on the runway. I can get up there.
Girl, stop. Stop. That's hilarious. Well, that's good. I'm glad it was a good time, and I'm glad they
Yeah.
showed out. And like you said, you might as well just, like, skip on into the gossipy side of things,
Yes.
with the American Next Top Model documentary that aired on Netflix that everybody seems to be talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody has an opinion. Did you watch, ma'am?
But of course, I sure did.
Mhm, mhm, and what was your opinion?
My opinion is that Tyra Banks probably bankrolled this whole thing as a commercial because, and then I guess this is a spoiler alert. So pause here if you don't want to hear it. Season 25 is coming, America's Next Top Model.
Yeah, I did see that that was coming. I did look to see if she was part of this Netflix documentary. I don't see where she is. I haven't and it says on Netflix that she's not part of it, but you never know. You
Sure. If
never
she's
know.
not if she's not part of it, that man Ken, who did the show with her, is part of it. There's no way. So, and if you watch it, you'll see that Tyra is portrayed in a very like villainous
Mhm,
light, but also she's fabulous. I mean, you can't deny, like, on the outside, this woman is fierce and fabulous. She looked incredible. Her boobs were sitting up high. She had this beautiful raincoat looking dress on, and her hair was laid just right. I don't like the portrayal of how things went down when she separated with Miss J Alexander, and Jay Manuel and Nigel Barker. I did not like how she came across as how they were treated when they were released, and some things went down, but this was 20 plus years ago. We have to give people some grace because
mhm,
things were a lot different 20 years ago than they are now. But one thing is, like, integrity is integrity. I don't know,
mhm.
what are your thoughts on what you saw?
I agree. There was something off about her look to me, though. I was stunned that I didn't
She's
like
much
the
bigger.
outfit. I understand the whole thing as you age, sometimes you do get bigger, but for as fabulous as she has been in, like, clothing, I didn't think she picked the right outfit for this particular documentary because it made it look like, I don't know, Inspector Gadget is it didn't fit her well. I didn't like
Okay.
the way it looked. As far as her being the villain, I have always thought that she was the villain when I was watching the
Mm,
show. I think I watched like maybe 3, 4 seasons of the show before I was just like, "Ugh, this is not for me anymore."
yeah.
One of the things that I feel kind of validated on watching the show is I always felt like Tyra treated the Black models a little bit differently, was a lot harsher in her critique. And and not as yeah, I felt like, her critique of the black models was much harsher than anybody else, and that's one of the reasons why I had stopped watching it. Also, I felt like not just her, but production, how they even portrayed some of the black models was very much so in a negative way, and I felt kind of validated again when some of the
Mhm.
models said and you heard their side of the story that they were treated differently than other people. And then they would show like the clips of like, you know, behind the scenes or when they would do like their private sessions and how some of the women said things about the black models. It
Mm.
was very mean girl to me. And as far as her being the bad guy, yeah, we knew she was. I feel like the production of this kind of tried to make the two J's and Nigel like they were just really doing their best and they were, really wanted the best for the girls and was above all the drama. Nah, y'all look just as bad as
Oh,
Tyra
they
did,
was
in my
grimy.
opinion.
They were grimy on Miss J, I mean, the mouth was so slick. But
Mm.
I think that the modeling industry in general is a mean girl
Oh, it
industry.
definitely is. And a lot of it too, when I listen to some of the girls, say things like, we thought that she was going to be innovative and take it to another height. But we also knew even 20 years ago how nasty that business was and the
Mhm.
type of models that they want. And it was a long, hard fight, especially for Black models who still are not represented the way they should be in 2026. You
Yeah.
still see the overflow of white models compared to, black models or any other demographic. So
Yeah.
I get what some of them were saying, but the thing that I find most egregious, I remember that episode with what was her name? Shayna?
Was that the one where Tyra, like, crashed out on her?
No, the one who was raped.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Italian, I remember watching that episode and I also remember feeling like production was 100% wrong. 100% wrong to one, they set this whole thing up,
Mm.
and they had made sure that the liquor was pouring. And then in that instance, then it was on you to kind of stop it at a certain, everybody was over 21, I believe. But even if they were not, it was still on you when you see somebody pass out drunk to stop it and not push
Yeah.
it. And then to film the whole conversation with her boyfriend, the whole thing was problematic, but I always have to say with these things, we live in a world where it is male dominated, where men will take advantage, where men will rape you. And it doesn't matter what clothes you have on. It doesn't matter if you have a you could be in a nun's dress. You can be in full hijab. You will get raped if the circumstances allow it from a man. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Clothes, none of that matters. So you have to always think of protecting yourself first. And she said
Mhm.
she had like 2 bottles of wine. And again, that's on production. That woman had 2 bottles of wine. She was flat out drunk. And Tyra, you did not, as a woman, you didn't advocate for that girl the way you
Yeah.
should have. And the worst one I thought was the young Black woman when they were doing a shoot in Africa and that guy was touching all over her
Yes.
and she stopped it and said, I don't feel comfortable. Not one person advocated for her. And Mr. J, what did he tell her? Well, we got to get this done. You have to learn how to figure this kind of stuff. This man is full on groping her and then moaning in her ear. And that's the best advice. You have the authority to say, look,
Yeah.
you can get another model. You're
Yeah.
fired, dude. You can get another model. To have her go through, I thought that was both of them were egregious, but this one was more egregious in my opinion because she spoke up and you did
Right.
nothing.
And I think too, it's always wrong. It's always been wrong.
Mhm.
But we have the post or current Me Too movement as a
Mhm.
lens. So now if something like that happened, it's more likely to be interrupted. Whereas before, back then, people talked about it. We knew about sexual harassment. We knew that it was wrong and all those things. But I think that it was just kind of status quo to push through something like that because we're on a timeline, we're on a this and we're on a that. Having taught modeling and worked with young girls who are like barely legal, because I used to deal with when I taught a group that was like 12, 13, 14 here in New England. But when I would do the Passport to Discovery,
Mhm.
and let me not say too much on the agency that I worked for, but I had the girls who were 17 and 19. I was on that boat, the cruise with kids, thousands of kids of all ages, from
Mhm.
little kids to teenage adults. And some of the stuff that I would observe and keep my girls away from, I don't think everyone got the protection that my kids got
Mhm.
when I was chaperoning. And I will say that. And I vocalized my concerns to the agency, and it kind of was like, "Meh."
Mhm.
It was met like, we'll take care of it. But there was no follow up as to how did you take care of it? What was said? What was done? Did you remove the people that were
Mhm.
concerning? Because what they're doing on this cruise is they're trying to get these children, essentially their children, to be signed by different agencies and agents and things like that and entertainment companies. So sometimes they can't go with their parents because the parents can't afford it. So
Mhm.
they would pay like 3 grand to send their kid on a cruise, and they would give a chaperone like myself, who was an instructor. And these weren't even my regular students. They were coming from all over the country. So they were coming
Mhm.
from Florida, Georgia, the Midwest, people who had never been around this many different kinds of people, and they're trying their hardest to get discovered.
Mhm.
So with that comes the responsibility as adults in the room to
Mhm.
say, we're going to protect these kids because not every agent, not every agency has their best interest in mind. So when I say that the modeling world is mean girl, it's beyond mean girl. We're seeing how that modeling world folded into the Epstein files. They were funneling girls from the modeling. So you have to think that Miss J, Jay Alexander, Nigel, who seemed to be the most decent of all of them, and then Tyra, they've all dealt with like sexual harassment, racism, homophobia. And I think they literally became numb to it, which is not good. But I
Mhm.
think that's why they were acting the way that they were acting. They were just like, this, you ain't seen nothing yet, baby. Wait till you get signed and you start working for an agency, what you're gonna have to do. And it's
Mhm.
it's messed up, but I think
Mhm.
that's what the lens they were looking through.
Yeah. I still
Terrible.
disgusting.
But
They
people
didn't
signing up. People can't wait to get on the
but
next cycle.
those an adult. They are adults, and then they're just and I have a hard time with the word adult when you're talking to somebody 20, 21, because they
Mm,
still have no life experiences, and they're
yeah,
still more than likely living at home with their parents. You're not really an adult until you're 30,
they're
basically,
kids.
in my opinion. Those are kids. But the response, especially to the woman who was in Africa and that guy feeling all was it'd been a good
And they had all
it
the footage. They had
Mhm,
all the footage
mhm,
of the incident in Italy, the footage in Africa, and they used it in their documentary. Like, but I
mhm.
mean, I am kind of glad that they were somewhat transparent. Whoever did produce this, I'm glad that there was transparency there. I'm glad that Tyra came and said her piece or whatever. Although she took some ownership, she could have taken more ownership. You know
Yeah,
what I
I didn't
mean?
think she took a lot. She really
She did
didn't.
admit that she did too much
She
sometimes.
blamed it completely on, well, this was 20 years ago. You know, and granted, like even in what you're explaining about the boat cruise and stuff, things hit you differently. But as a woman, and you know what women have to deal with, and you know how sexually aggressive men can be with women, then you go and you do your best to protect girls.
Yeah.
I've seen situations where a grown man is flirting with a 16, 17-year-old girl, and everybody comes down on that 16, 17-year-old girl. She's fast, she's this, she's that. And, women do it harder than men do. And that's why men are allowed to get away with this stuff. So apologize to that woman for saying, yeah, 20 years ago, I should have stepped in. I should have said something or whatever. I didn't look at it through the same lens. I always tell this stupid story and I hate it and I hate myself for it. The whole thing with Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill. And when that came out, everybody blamed Anita Hill or thought that she could have did something differently. And I was one of those people. One of those people,
Oh,
like,
really?
he's going to be like the first, did not know anything about this man. He's going to be the first Black Supreme Court justice after, well, he would be the second. And why? why is she saying all this stuff now? Blah, 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 blah. I was 19, 20 years old during this time. And to me, that is like, that sticks with me always because it was just how harsh I was on a victim. And let this man, and look at this trash ass man that we all really like, defended. The churches, the community leaders, everybody defended this man over this woman. And who was right all along? So I do get when people say, well, 20 years ago, things were different and people looked at it through a different lens. So I understand that. But make your apology heartfelt.
Yeah.
Make your apology heartfelt. Admit how trash your decision was at that particular time. None of them did that. None of
You
them did
know,
that.
it's funny you bring that up because you know the one moment in that timeline that I remember about Anita Hill and what made me actually be more on Anita's side was the show Designing Women. I don't know if you remember this.
Mhm.
They
Oh, I used to
brought
love
her
designing.
on.
Mhm.
They brought her on the show and they supported her.
Mhm.
Because that was around the time of like Designing Women, Murphy
Mhm.
Brown, when women were like, bump all of this, traditional stuff you're trying to make us do because, we're gonna push back and it was like a light revival of the
But it was
women's
very
liberation
strong,
movement.
and that I will say, that honestly was some of the push that I needed to see things differently. It was comedy,
Yeah.
and Murphy Brown was, well, I mean, both of them, Designing Women, Murphy Brown, and even Maude to a point,
Yes.
back in the day. They made you look at it through not only a lens of a woman, but also that lens of the woman fighting for justice against men who we all knew were predators. Predators. So I'm glad you even brought that up because that's what helped change my frame of thought. But in the very beginning, nope. I was going with the flow with what everybody else was saying.
Yeah, and I think too that just growing up in the 90s and just men just being like still in that predator phase. Like I remember watching movies like 9 to 5 and seeing them trying to like say this is not okay, but
Mhm.
it wasn't that prevalent that it was encouraged to
Mhm.
push back like that. I'm glad that we are sort of getting there like
Mhm.
somewhat right now, but and I'm glad that those women got to speak. What mortified me more, not more, but as much about this was the physical extremes that they made these women go through to adjust. I mean, like pulling teeth and I mean dental work, which is fine. Dental work is fine, but don't
Mhm.
make me go take a photo shoot the next day. I'm like high on drugs and you pulled all my teeth out from the root. Like that, and then cutting that poor black woman's hair. Oh my God. Shahida, if I could jump through the screen and fight Tyra in that moment,
Mhm.
because it wasn't that they cut her hair.
Mhm.
My issue was you let those people who don't understand black hair cut her hair and it was gelled down and you
Mm.
let them apply clippers to hair that was unwashed. Girl,
Mhm.
where were you when this was happening?
And then the girl said that she thought that Tyra, when she said obviously she doesn't know about this, and when she comes to it, she's gonna really rally for me. And she said all that Tyra could say was that people think that you're ashy, ma'am.
Yeah. That was not good.
And that woman was not ashy. There is no black woman, no dark skinned black woman, but no black woman who is intentionally ashy every day. You could catch her at a moment, but even we were seeing that girl, for a couple of episodes. She was not, where was she ashy? Her ankles, where was she ashy? And
I
then
think,
they said that she needed
yeah.
this lotion. And then the white girl was saying to her, well, could you, she wasn't a white girl, so it was a Hispanic girl. She was like, well, I know you have to use that stuff for your skin, but do you mind like when you touch the doorknob to be careful because it's so greasy? And they filmed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I meant about like she had no care for the black
It
women
was
on that show.
bullying. It was bullying, basically, and the support wasn't there. Even Takara, like looking back at Takara, the way they portrayed her and the other woman, I don't remember her name, as plus. The woman who was like a size 6 was a plus model. Do you
Mhm.
remember the blonde woman in Takara? They weren't even big. Like they're not even
But
big.
the thing is, I was surprised that Takara wasn't on there because all the models that they said made it, I've never seen them before, but I remember all the
Takara
black
came on.
models.
I thought they interviewed Takara post
I
in
don't remember
post.
seeing her at all.
I thought I did see her
Because
a little bit.
I was specifically looking, because 'cause I'm like, she was such a big, to me, she was huge, she had, to me, I thought she had a very good career. The one who they said was the, plus side model that did very well, I don't even remember her, so I could have not seen her season, but I remember seeing Takara plenty times. So,
Yeah,
no, I don't
they
remember, I might have missed it, I could have walked away because how my attention
possibly.
span.
But it was I think it was, it was a blast from the past. I will say that. I think
Mhm,
it's a way to check yourself too and think about like mentality and how we really need to, especially when women come to us as other women and say, this is happening to me, I need help, not to brush things off, not to sweep things under the rug, not to
mhm,
tell them they're overreacting. Be supportive, someone they can lean a shoulder on. And if you can't help, point them in the direction of someone else who can help them. Don't just ignore
mhm.
when women are coming to you, especially if you're in a position to make and affect that change.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I probably would catch a little bit of season 25. Why not? I would think
Mhm.
that they would do it a little bit better. I know, because 'cause I've always been a Project Runway person, that was my
Yeah.
show. Love it to
Yeah.
this day.
Heidi Klum. Yeah.
When Heidi left and
And Tim, right?
it
Tim
didn't,
Gunn.
yeah, they both left or they were pushed out. I don't know what the situation was, but the show just didn't have the oomph that it needed. And it wasn't just them, because it was like some of the guests that they had, like this last season that they had on Amazon, and they had, what's his name? Law. He was one of the judges. I
Oh,
thought,
Laura.
yeah, really good. Who else was one of the mainstream judges? But it was really good. I mean, that's a really good season. I actually love that show. I will probably check out, America's Next Top Model, just to see if they change anything, but I probably wouldn't stick to it because I just feel like that was never my show anyway.
So this is what and I love a little conspiracy in my head. Now this
Mhm.
may not be what's happening. So in my head, Tyra paid for this commercial, which is the
Mhm.
show, this Netflix documentary. I feel like
Mhm.
it's a big commercial for her next season. And as much as, you know, Jay Manuel, Jay Alexander, and Nigel said that she kind of did them dirty, especially with Miss J being, having a stroke and not being able to
Mhm.
walk and things. And they're now doing a press junket. So they're doing their own separate press tour together, the three of them. I
Mhm.
wouldn't be shocked if they show up on Cycle 25.
All 4 of them.
I don't know. I'm like,
Mhm.
is that what this all is? Is this all publicity
Mhm. Mhm. Well,
by a
I know a
really
lot of people are
strategic
saying
person?
they're not gonna watch it regardless, but I don't know. I'll take it because 'cause I'm nosy. But
Yeah,
again, I
I want to
probably
see. I
won't
want to see.
stay because it's just
Now,
not my thing.
and another thing. So when you say you saw Tyra as the villain the whole time, I didn't necessarily see her as a villain back then. I saw her as
Mhm.
someone who's kind of like she was a little tough, but I was like maybe she's being tough because she feels like she has to, whatever.
Mhm.
I do think she was definitely a little tougher on the black women, but Janice Dickinson of
Oh,
all the people, the
yeah.
worst.
And
I
they
mean,
didn't touch on it. They didn't touch
horrible.
on it
They
that
did.
much. They did, but not to the degree, because I felt like of anybody, I mean, I feel like, yeah, you point your finger at Tyra, but that particular woman, she was so nasty. She needed a good 30 minutes of them talking about her.
They brought it up and they pointed out that she was like so, and I think too, this is around maybe the time
Mhm.
American Idol started too.
Mhm.
So when Simon Cowell came onto the scene, that became kind of the model, right? You have a panel
Mhm.
of judges. You have the super harsh judge, you have the super sweet judge, and then you have the middle ground judge. So I think that's the model that they call themselves following. And I think Janice was the Simon Cowell of the group. I mean, they were all had cowlish,
Yeah.
cowlish,
But she
personalities
was
at some
really,
point. But
really harsh. She was,
Janice was
and
horrible.
it was like drunken rants a lot of the times. A lot of times I wondered about her sanity. I mean, is she still alive?
Yeah, but you
Okay.
remember she was really well, I mean, that this doesn't have anything to do with that, but she was really big around this Me Too push, especially around Bill Cosby.
Mhm.
So she was she was saying that she was a victim, if I'm not mistaken, of Bill Cosby as well. She,
I
of
didn't know
all
that.
people, having gone through this sexual harassment and saying that she was violated and things like you would think you would try to be a girl's girl. Not the
Mm.
case.
Well, maybe that's
She
why
went
she
the
had, like,
other way.
those
She went the other
drunken
way.
rants and everything, because that's what it seemed like. It seemed like that whole
She
time she
was
was on there,
vicious.
she was on something,
She
but
was a viper. Yeah,
no,
but
she was not nice, not at all. Oh, I forgot all about her. Did she well, it doesn't matter, but yeah, she was I felt
oh,
like they
she didn't
didn't go into
apologize.
her
So
long
they didn't
enough.
bring her. They didn't
Mhm.
bring her on now. They just showed clips of her in the past, and I don't
Yeah.
think she was interviewed,
Mhm. That's what
again
I
for
found
the show.
strange, like, they didn't spend enough time on her. She was at least owed a good 30 minutes or 20 minutes or something, because it was just this was her and Tyra didn't get along, and then she was gone,
Yeah,
so that was weird. But yeah, I
yeah.
forgot about her. So, alright, well, so my rating for that, I'm gonna give it out of 5, I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay.
It wasn't that great.
Say like 3.5 for the
Yeah.
nostalgia aspect of it. It took
Mhm.
me back.
Mhm.
Just seeing those girls, I actually, despite how terrible things were behind the scenes, I loved how creative they got with the photo shoots. I do. Some of them
Mhm.
were bad. They were racist.
Mhm.
Not those ones. I like the ones where they did something special with their hair, or
Mhm.
they had a theme, they were doing all these really cool themes and things like that. So I did enjoy some of the photo sessions, and
Mhm.
I think too, what people fail to realize, and they did touch on this, is that even if you won, sometimes there was a stigma attached to that prevented you from even working. So you were better off not winning.
Mhm. Well, the way they made it sound in that if you won, you were kinda, like, out of luck, because a lot of people at that time didn't wanna work with people who were in reality shows, and where it's
Yeah.
like it's different now. But
Hmm.
again, that's why I said I saw it differently, because a lot of the people who I did really like, Eva, is it Eva or Ava? Ava?
Eva
Eva.
Pickford Marcel.
Right.
Yeah.
She went on, she had a good career. Takara, at the time, she had a, good career. Can't think of anybody else now off the top of my head, but I thought it was more. But yeah, I just thought that the show, the documentary, would show me more things that I didn't see. It just showed me what we had already seen,
Yeah.
it was nothing new in my opinion, it was nothing new to learn about Tyra, or the Jays. The only thing I thought was funny was when Jay talked about how he and Tara, slept in the same house. They were so tight and this, they were the besties of the besties. But when it came time for him to want to leave or whatever, you sent her an email.
He
That
was
was weird.
scared of her. He was scared of Tyra
And he stayed on for like 5, 6 more seasons? I think again, that
because
was more pushing off some of their BS onto her to make her look worse. I questioned him a
mm,
lot on a lot of the
mhm.
things he said, because you were full on in it. If you really wanted to leave after you sent your email and they said just one more season, why didn't you leave?
Because the honest truth is probably, where was he gonna go? I mean, I know he had a good, like, background, but I think he was afraid to disappoint Tyra, because it seemed like he was almost like her lackey.
He
And I
was.
hate to say it like that, but I
He
think
was.
he thought they were besties, but she liked him around because he was almost like a yes man to her.
Mhm.
So I think there was that dynamic. But then when that female executive left, I think that's when things began
Mhm.
to really go downhill. Was when that woman who greenlit the show in the first place,
Mhm.
she left, and that man came on who seemed like he was just not it. I
Mm-mm.
think that's when a lot of things really started to go downhill.
Yep. It did. I really feel like that did. So, well, anyway, on to the next. So, we did not talk about the Pawtucket shooting. I mean, there's a lot of information that had came out since that all happened,
Yeah.
specifically about Mr. Robert Dorgan, Mr. Roberta Esposito, Mr. Roberta Durango, Dorgan, or whatever name he chose to go by. I
Yeah.
was stunned when it came out that this trans man did this shooting. And I was even more stunned when I found out how racist and disgusting this man was in his personal life. So it doesn't really surprise me that he had this kind of level of hate, full on MAGA, full
Mhm.
on neo Nazi, which blows my mind. Do these American fake Nazis know what real Nazis would have done to them in Germany? Because you definitely would have been in one of those gas chambers, sir, and you
For sure.
definitely would have been shot for being trans, for being I don't think he's gay, but do you know? Do
They
you
would
know
have
what
put
your place
they would have put the triangle tattoo
Mhm.
on them and then incinerated them, along with anyone else that they considered undesirable for the supreme
Undesirable.
race. Yeah.
Thank you for using that word. You would have been undesirable. And here you are all over X, all over social media talking about like how you hate blacks and how, they're bringing down our society.
Right.
These
And then
people
came talk about family values. You killed your family. You annihilated, half of
and
your
raised
family.
another racist. I don't know about
Raised
all the children, but I'm side eyeing the friends, the family, all of them, because
yes.
the son was the one that tried to burn down a black church a couple of
Mhm.
years ago.
Yep. And they were saying that there was like a battle in family court that centered around this person being trans, like all of these things.
Hmm.
You would have been better off on the side of the liberals who would have advocated for you and all these things that you're trying to do. The fact that you would identify with your haters is that just
Because you
goes to
know
show.
what? White supremacy and male white supremacy is just like with Bruce Jenner and Caitlyn. Those two things in the Republican Party, they clearly tell you they don't like you, that you are the reason society is the way it is. But Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner is still going to vote for those people. Like just
Because
like this guy.
they're
The
using
race is
them
the racism.
They're using them as a tool, the same way Nicki Minaj is being used as a tool. It's like, "Look,
Mhm.
see our token?" They will use you as a token, but they don't really want you.
No, 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 they don't. You don't see like you don't see Bruce, Caitlyn, whatever, out and about at like a lot of like big or big Republican productions or whatever. So I don't know if he's like shunned a little bit or he just chooses not to go or she just chooses not to go. It's so hard sometimes for me to use the term that they want to use to say who they are because I find them so disgusting and it's hard for me to respect their wishes on that. So I
Yeah.
know I keep saying he, I don't mean to say he. I know he's a she now. So, but one of the things that I found like really insane too, and I don't think is that they were cousins.
Who's
First,
that?
the
Yes, the victim, the
the victim
female
and
adult victim.
they were
Yes.
cousins. They knew they were Rhode Island is they both had the same last name. They said they were cousins once removed.
Rhode Island hillbillies, child. Rhode Island hillbillies, for real. And then
And
they mixed up them genes and had a child that was the spawn of Rhode Island hillbillies. So, I
so he
mean,
has 6 kids, and they're all from North Providence. They all live in North Providence, which I find just scary in itself because my black
they're
behind is in North
that
Providence.
close. Yeah.
And I I don't feel like the media is focused enough on how hateful this person was. I read some of his stuff and diabolical.
Because
Absolutely.
they're so busy focusing on the trans piece of it, which I think is the
I
least
haven't even seen a
of it.
lot of that.
Well, I don't know about locally, but the
Nationally.
New York Post was so thirsty for that. Once they found out this person was trans
Mhm.
female, they went off with it. And they
Mhm.
led with that because they
Mhm.
knew the reaction that they were going to get by saying that.
Of
So,
course.
yeah,
But he's like full on MAGA. Full
less on
on
this
MAGA.
person being trans, like less on
Mhm.
that because that's not even the problem.
That's
The
not
problem is their ideologies, the problem is their
the
actions,
Nazi tattoos.
and then never going to be held accountable because they're dead now. So,
Mhm.
that's the problem here is not there's not even going to be full justice. The son is running around. He burnt down a black church just a few years ago.
He's in jail in
And
Texas.
yeah, he's in jail in Texas. The problem is these little cells
Mhm.
of extremists, because that's what this person is, an extremist. Um, there are conservatives that do not act like this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But if you
But
go to
they don't speak up
Thanksgiving,
loud enough.
that part. If you go to Thanksgiving, you go to Christmas, and this person is spewing BS, stop hanging with this person and call them out on their stuff. Like, I'm sure that the people at this hockey rink probably have seen and plenty of red flags before this even happened, like
The
just from
man
this
walked
person coming
in with
around.
a gun and a pink holster, and they just all assumed that it was a toy and a pink holster. And I'm like, but then I
It's a
asked
kid's
myself,
hockey game. Why do you need a fake gun?
oh, even if it, exactly, with it out like that. And I wonder how I would react going to like a sporting event. And if I saw somebody walk in with I can be a very much so Karen when I want to be.
You're gonna tell, I need a manager. Excuse me. Can I get a manager?
I am that person. Ask my kids. They hate it. I hate it. But if I saw somebody and I saw it, even if I thought it was fake, like, why are you a grown person walking around with a gun like that? I don't know it's fake. I don't know I would have concerns, but nobody had any concerns. But the reason being is that you always feel safer amongst your own. And I think that that has a lot to do with it because you and I go into places that other people would be like, "Oh my god, it's so dangerous there," and we don't think anything of it because usually we're amongst our own, and
Right.
I feel unsafe when I go to places where I'm not with my own, like a Bruins hockey game sometimes, and people didn't had a few too many to drink. I feel I'm in a dangerous situation. Or if I go to a bar and people have had way too much to drink and there's not a lot of people that look like I feel like I'm in a dangerous situation. So I get that to an extent. You see a guy come in but if I saw a black guy come in with a gun too and I'm
Anybody, anybody. And I don't think Rhode Island is an open carry state to my knowledge.
exactly.
So if we were in Texas and I saw someone with a visible gun, I'd be like, "We're in Texas. It's an open carry state." I
Mhm.
I would probably remove myself
Yes.
personally, but especially if I saw it in Rhode Island where I don't believe that this is an open
Mhm.
carry state, I'm out of there. Like,
Mhm.
and the fact that you went to your kid's hockey practice or game or whatever, there are children here. Why would you? And I've said this on this podcast so many times. I'm not advocating for people committing suicide, but if you feel like things are that bad and you're down bad and you don't want to live no more, keep that to yourself. Don't
Yeah.
involve your wife. Don't involve your children. Don't involve
Mhm.
innocent bystanders. Take yourself out. Go take some pills. Go do whatever you need to do by yourself. Write a note.
Mhm.
Tell us why you did it. Don't
Mhm.
involve other people. Like, stop
Mm-mm.
doing that. And that is
Yeah.
such a like,
If you decided if it was your family and you decided to be at home and take your family, that's your family, and it's the most horrific thing, but you decided to go to a place to traumatize other people's families.
mhm.
Everybody's traumatized by this now because everybody's thinking, "Should I go here? Should I go there?" They're gonna be extra diligent when they see things out in the open to me and people who weren't there because it affected me because I have to take my grandson to and fro from basketball games and practices and stuff. And for the that first week, there was nothing because they canceled everything because you just don't know. And I went to a
Which is
basketball
awful,
game. So
you know?
it affects society when people do this stuff, which is why I do not understand why people are so resistant to making real gun control laws.
Yeah.
And we're not an open carry, but you know what shocks me most about these people who fight for the Second Amendment? That a lot of them are police officers.
Mhm.
And I would think you talk about how stressful your job is and you don't know what's coming from somebody's car, somebody's apartment, and you have a right to be stressed because you do not know. But if we got rid of these guns, how much better would your job be not having that to worry about? I mean, people are going to find a way to have illegal guns, but it won't be the same as it is with us now. We're the only country that suffers like this. It's amazing
Right.
to me.
So, Department of Homeland Security, right? I don't know if I'm sure you read this because you're up on the news. They put a pause on global entry in TSA. Did you see that?
Mhm. Mhm.
So instead of taking the money that you have to work on keeping illegal guns out of the country, which is a homeland security issue,
Mhm.
you're now messing up my fast track in the airport
Mhm.
that I paid for. So I'm
Yep.
guessing there's probably going to be a lawsuit because now I want my
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
I
I
want my
think
money back if I can't use the service that I signed up for because, and you're trying to blame it on this impasse that's going on between the Democrats and the Republicans. I don't want to hear that. Take the money I gave
that
you
doesn't
for my
even make
subscription.
sense.
It
That doesn't
doesn't.
even make sense.
Take the money I paid you to fund the TSA pre-check,
Mhm.
whatever. But they're focusing on the wrong things. And it was funny because someone that I know on Facebook the other day started to criticize Christy Nome, but then he's like, I don't want to be criticizing women. I said, you can criticize a woman if she ain't shit and she's no good at her job. There's no problem with that, sir.
Mhm.
We're not considering you a sexist. She
Mhm.
doesn't deserve a pass. What she
Mhm.
is doing, she's unqualified for her job. She's in over her head. She's making egregious mistakes because this cabinet was appointed by someone who clearly is not well, and he just hired his cronies who are unqualified for everything that they're doing. There's so much like they're saying that Department of Education. Parts of
Ugh.
it are going to report to Department of Labor. So much crazy stuff is going on right now.
Why would the Department of Education report to the Department of Labor? You know why? Because they don't want your children educated. They want them in the labor market. That's what they want. They don't
And they
want you.
also, yep, go ahead.
No, I mean, that doesn't even make a lick of sense.
Because they're trying to lower the age for kids to work,
Work.
and they're
Mhm.
also
And
trying to
they've
lower
already
the
done it in certain states.
and the age of consent as well, which is something
Mhm.
you brought up multiple times. It's like
Been
they just
saying
out
it for like years.
they wanna mess with kids. Like, what are y'all doing? Kids can't even get their picture taken at school because the freaking owner of the Life Touch company was
Was
down
it
on
you that told me
Epstein
that? You told me
partying.
that.
I've seen
Ugh.
it quite a few times on social media, and it's been fact checked. Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy that they I mean, and speaking of this Epstein stuff, let's just like real quickly before we wrap up, the Prince Andrew thing.
Yes.
Now, I was happy to see that he was arrested, but disappointed to see what he was arrested for. He wasn't arrested for the things that we knew that he did. He's more or less arrested for the blackmail side of it because he was giving out England's, secret, taking advantage of his office. So not for any of the sexual misconduct that's in the Epstein report, but for what he did, I guess, to country, which still makes sense. But we haven't done anything to anyone because we have people in office right now that like a year ago, I forget which secretary it was caught in a bribe. I think it was the Secretary of Labor caught in a bribe for like 250,000, caught on tape. He still has his job. We
So
are in a bad situation.
I will say I think it was real cute that they arrested Andrew on his birthday or like right around his birthday. That was real cute to me. So go ahead and enjoy that birthday
I
in the
think I
clinic.
think he's since been released. I'm not sure, but that's my dad's birthday too.
Still super
The
cute. They
good and
made
the
him
bad. The
do
good
the
and the
perk walk
bad.
on his birthday, but it almost feels like you know how they got Al Capone for tax evasion
Mhm.
because they couldn't get him on the other stuff. I almost feel
Mhm.
like that's what they're doing here with the bribe because if all most of his transgressions and this assault stuff happened on the island, they may not have jurisdiction for that,
Mhm.
but they do have jurisdiction for things that he did when he was in
And
England.
it is, I mean, like I said, it wasn't what I wanted him to be arrested for. 'Cause I wanted to be humiliated for the disgusting things he did to young girls, but I'll take it.
They kicked him out of
I'll take it.
his house too. They
Yeah.
kicked him out of his
And that was
crib.
like over a year ago that they did that, right? I
Yeah.
mean, he lost his title over a year ago. So they have done some things, but yeah, it's
It's no wonder Harry was like, "I'm out. I'm taking my kids. I'm out of here. Y'all don't
and the
even know
fight
the
has
half."
been with them. You listen, like the British media, how they talk about Harry and Meghan is wow. You all are
Yeah.
not beating the allegations that y'all are racist as hell
I mean,
because it's horrible.
they're the original OG colonizer daddy. I mean,
Mhm,
come on.
mhm.
I don't
They are
expect
not.
anything.
They are not, and
more or
then
less.
people but you see these people that some of the responses is just like, "Wow, you guys really live with this every single day. That's tough on you."
Yeah. No, but good for Megan. She actually has a product line out for
Mhm. And
her
looking
brand.
fabulous.
And looking like she's living her best life.
Woo! Looking fabulous. So, no
Yep.
hard lines there.
Yep.
Anyway.
Harry has
Alright.
all his hair. William damn near bald. You do the math.
I see that middle though on Harry.
Listen,
I see
but
that middle.
he looks happy. It's getting there. But they said he got different daddies anyway, so maybe it's genetic.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, well, that will guess we can wrap up on that little tidbit.
Hmm.
Anything else going on?
So, I mean, we still got a little bit of Black History Month left in the tank. So do
Mhm.
something fun. I'm going to a game night in honor of Black History Month. I'm doing some research. I think we need to look into that Black National Doll Museum. Maybe check
Mhm.
that out. There's the Cape Verdean Cultural Museum. There's so many ways you can
Well,
honor
what's the
Black
game night?
history. Oh, it's so it was like a personal invite, but it was like a friend of mine was like, in honor of Black History Month, we're
Oh,
having a
I
game night. And
okay.
I was
Cool,
like,
cool.
I like that because that's historical. Well, also, I will also mention that if you guys want a game night to attend that's open to everybody, TEDx Roxbury is doing a fundraiser game night on March 9th.
Mhm.
I'll post more information about that. It's going to be at Long Live Roxbury, the brewery in Roxbury, Massachusetts on Hampton Street. So that's going to be in the evening time. It's a Monday night. So,
Mhm.
just get yourself together. Don't even go home from work as Cynthia said. If I go in the house, I might not come back out.
This is
So
true.
just go straight to Long Live Roxbury. It's a fundraiser and there's going to be spades, chess, card games, all
Mhm.
different kind of games for TEDx Roxbury's fundraiser. And they will even give you lessons if you don't know how to play certain games like spades.
I hate playing with newbies when it comes to
Well, if you already have experience, you could play with the experienced people. But I think that's a good thing. I think that's really
You
cool that they're willing to teach
definitely
people. Yeah.
need but I feel like you newbies have to play with experienced players. They need to feel that raft so that
Listen,
they
I
know. That's
got to
how you
learn about
learn. That's how it
books
sticks
and
in your head. It sticks in your head
bids.
like, "Let me not renege on these hearts or something." It'll stick
Yeah.
with you more.
Yeah, exactly,
But
exactly.
speaking of, I mean, well, this is a good 7 months off, but the Rhode Island Coalition of Black Women, the Political Action Committee, is having a civic game night in
Ooh.
September. So it should be around like the 14th or something. I think it's like a Thursday night. So this year's theme is going to be Family Feud. So Civic Night Family Feud. So it's going to be made up of teams, community leaders, community politicians. We're working on that, and we're gonna just duke it out in like a Family Feud style. So I'm like very excited. We're just in the planning stages, but it's gonna be in September.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Listen,
Mhm.
hopefully we get a nice spring and summer, but
Mhm.
September will be here before you know it, child. So
I know it will be, but anyway. All right then. So on that note, we will say have a good snow day because the snow's coming back.
big snow. Listen, there was no
The
salt.
snow
Like
is coming back.
there was no salt anywhere, girl. Morel drove around for about an hour and trying to find salt because we didn't prepare like we should have. But when you listen, when you're the land, the lord of the land, you got to have the salt. So we found some. But get your candles, get your matches, get your foods that don't need refrigeration
Well,
because
you kind of late because it's 4 o'clock now on Sunday, and it's
it's
supposed to
supposed to
start.
start. It's
It's
supposed to
supposed to
start.
start. Oh, you know what? Before we go, I have the most horrific story. I don't know if this happens in your neighborhood, but it
Mm.
happens in my neighborhood quite frequently. Like the screaming of an animal that's being attacked.
No.
It's so horrible this morning, 4 o'clock, and it was a fox, and I don't know what he had, but it sounds like somebody's killing a baby, and it's
Oh
right
my God.
outside and this happens at least once or twice a month. You can see the footprints in the snow. I was like, "Why am I waking up to this? This is horrible."
That's North Providence problems, honey. We don't have that problem down over here in regular Providence.
It's horrifying. It is
Oh.
horrifying. But yeah, I'm quite sure you do. It's probably just not in your yard.
Because honestly, we used to have a lot of rats around here back in it, but
Mhm.
somehow they went away. I'm happy about that. But there have
There's
been a lot of stray.
obviously some coyotes or a fox somewhere around.
Hey,
Be
listen,
happy.
thank you, coyotes, thank you, foxes, and stray cats, because it was a problem, child, when we first moved up here. But I haven't seen as many. But occasionally we'll see an occasional bunny rabbit. But I'm trying to think of what animal would make that noise. I hope it wasn't a dog or cat.
It
I don't
has
know.
to no, 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 it wasn't definitely not a dog or a cat. It's either a rabbit or I don't think it's the woodchuck, because we got a lot of those too. No, groundhogs, not
That's
woodchucks,
so
but the
sad. I would have
groundhogs.
to put my ear things on and like noise cancellation. I couldn't listen to that. I would be because just hearing a cat in heat, that like is nails on the
It's
chalkboard to me.
that I can get with. I mean, the meowing and how low and guttural it is, I can, but the screaming for your life as an animal, that's hard. Hard. Yeah. And this is and for since it snowed, I hadn't heard anything, and I actually went across the street and was feeding the birds because there was like a whole bunch of birds. Like you could tell that they were looking for something in that wooded area across the street from
Hmm.
me. So I said, let me go and like throw them some bread.
Yeah.
And so I've seen an influx of that. So, but I haven't seen any of the critters, like the critters. And today was the first time. I'm like,
It's winter. Y'all should be burrowing or
they were
hibernating
looking
or
for
whatever.
food. They were looking that's what I'm saying, and then now a new, batch of snow is gonna come out here. Is it snowing yet? Nope, not yet. But
Coming
it's funny,
soon.
I've been loving, like, some of the things I've seen on Instagram when people are like, "I just saw grass yesterday. It was 40 degrees yesterday. It was beautiful. I was outside without a shirt, and today you're telling me another nor'easter?" Yeah, that's how we roll.
Here
That's how we
today,
roll.
gone tomorrow, here again today. That's
Mhm.
how I was looking.
I'm
So
just hoping that the rest of the week, which I haven't checked, I hope the rest of the week is milder so that this new batch of snow kind of just melts away. Cause I just got the snow off my roof and it's still not completely gone. I think like where my end of it, it's still icy. It's still like really icy. And like
yeah,
when
the
you walk
gutters
down
and
the
stuff like that.
stairs, you walk down, you can feel little drips of it or whatever. But that's New England and I choose to live here and I'm happy about it.
The almanac told us, the almanac predicted this, so we should have
Hmm.
been we should.
Yeah, my father, so he's on that all the time, and I say it every single year. Well, it nailed it this year. It said excessive snow and excessive cold weather, so that's what we
Yep,
got. Anyway, well, with that, we will peace out.
yep,
See you guys later.
y'all know where to find us. iHeartRadio, I didn't forget this time.
Hmm.
iHeartRadio, and we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube, we're on social media on Facebook as well as Instagram, and you can listen or watch wherever podcasts are heard. So come through, slip through our DMs, send us comments, like our posts, watch the fashion show, all that good stuff.
Oh no, I'm gonna watch the fashion show. That does sound good. All right, till next time. Have a great week. We will see you then. Peace out.